Hi, Namaste. My name is Reinhard Jung. Today I come to you as the director of a non-profit Canadian organization called Om Illumination. We are presently promoting a movie on the process of self-inquiry as recommended by Bhagavan Sri Ramana Maharishi. You can see that movie on our website, omillumination.com. Today, I continue and finalize my conversation with Reinhard Jung, one of the participants in this movie about self-inquiry. I considered Reinhard to be one of the topmost teacher on self-inquiry in the world right now. He has been on a spiritual path, a spiritual journey for more than 50 years. And now in 2021, he is more dedicated than ever to his own spiritual growth and helping humanity at large to come closer to enlightenment, to God. Reinhard is one of those individuals that I call hungry for God, someone that not only investigates spirituality, but someone who has dedicated his entire life to spiritual enlightenment. There's a story about a guru and a disciple in India that used to go take a sacred bath in the Ganges every day. And one day the disciple asked the guru, "When will I see God? When will I be self-realized?" And the guru said, "Let me show you." So he took the head of the disciple and put it underwater until it was clear that the disciple needed to take a breath. When he finally released the disciple was baffled at the action of his guru. "Why did you do this?" he asked the guru. And the guru told him, "When you want God and enlightenment as much as you wanted that breath, you will be self-realized." And that reminds me of the dedication of Reinhard to his spiritual path. We are now in the winter of our life, and spirituality has become more important for him and for me. In the first part of this exchange that we had on Skype, I told him of my experience meeting the great saint Anandamayi Ma in 1971 at the Kumbh Mela. This is me in 1971 at the Kumbh Mela. It was sunset and I was near the sacred river of the Jamuna, and people started to shout, "Anandamayi Ma, Anandamayi Ma." So I went to see Anandamayi Ma, and when she came out of the water, I happened to be by her car. She did walk towards me, looked into my eyes directly for what appeared to be like a minute, and then she went in her car and she left. And that 1 minute where that saint looked into my eyes absolutely changed my life. Even after 50 years, that moment is forever ingrained in my heart, sort of a guidance to self-realization. That's the power of the realized soul. Swami Chinmayananda, when he was 12-year-old, had a similar experience when visiting Bhagavan Ramana Maharishi. Bhagavan opened his eyes and looked directly into the eyes of the future Swami Chinmayananda. And that look absolutely changed his life.
A darshan of a saint, a darshan means a look. That is, God looks into your heart directly and he sees only God. God can see only God, and he kindles this divine in you. So that's all we need. We can trust that. And we can surrender all else. All the mind is in itself chaotic. It's restless by nature because it misses its home in the heart. So if a sage like Anandamayi Ma, you were telling, looks directly into your eyes, she looks into your heart. And that is timelessly active. It's only on your part to stay with that, to remember it, become a member again and again and again and again.
I think that you and me, we have that similarity. You love Ramana Maharishi. I love Ramana Maharishi. After so many years, I still love Ramana Maharishi. Is there anybody else? Is there any other personality that had that effect on you during your life?
I told you I had two teachers, Maharishi Mahesh Yogi. He was at least very advanced, although he still had an ego, which came out after some time. He also had some affairs with women and money. I can only say I'm very grateful, because he also was a very advanced yogi. When I became a teacher, I was blessed, and for days my heart was glowing. Oh. So there was a transmission, and it doesn't matter what spots his personality still had. He was a grace for me. And then I had a German yogi. He was also very advanced, but he also had a big ego. And I could say the same. I got so much understanding and insight, and now I'm happy. Ramana took me to him, and he took me away from him.
So Ramana is still the shining...
Ramana and Anandamayi Ma, I post her often also in my Facebook page. Same. And she was so humble. She went in 1952, she went to the Bhagwan, Ramana, sat there, and they prepared a chair, an extra elevated chair, and he said, no, we are all like the planets, and he's the sun.
Oh, yeah.
Only sages can be so humble. I mean, I see her the same, but she, in front of us, she would be like a little girl, and she would be so humble. Only a sage can be so selfless. She was so beautiful. So. Yeah. She was the mother, and Ramana was the father. We can see it that way. For in every generation you find saints. But someone like Ramana, he comes once in 1,000 years. And I love that. I think that's true. Ramana was really and is, I don't put it in the past tense, he is a blessing for the whole world. And we cannot go wrong. See, he was ideal in every sense. 24 hours, in his younger years at least, he was available. You could go there at night. And he never had any secrecy. You know what teachers do. We don't have to spoil the atmosphere by thinking about that. But Ramana was and is the beauty. we can really be grateful to be touched by him. That's what I feel. I was touched by him and I am touched by him. He is bringing our contact, and he is worthwhile. See, Bhajan, Anandamayi Ma used to sing, sums it all up. It's called Haribol. Haribol means when you talk about God. That's all.
What is true spirituality for you?
True spirituality is this maturity that can ask, what is my true nature? It needs a preparation, and may be a good preparation, but nothing in itself is enough. Nothing in this world will satisfy our hunger for God. I can express it in these words also. Only God himself. And in order to be taken up or taken in by the divine, the best, we cannot bring it about, but we can, move towards the limit of the human mind. And that is the question, what is my true nature? What is observing this moment? What is the most basic awareness in me? What is the permanence in me? When Buddha pointed out every object you perceive, including your ideas, are impermanent. They cannot satisfy you because they don't stay. And your true nature is not contained in any object. He said so because our true nature is different. So that is where all sages meet.
So Reinhard, it's been 50 years you're on the spiritual path. You still meditate several hours a day. What do you do when you start meditating now? Do you just sit down and let it happen, or do you use mantra? What does Reinhard do when he sits down and meditates?
I said before, the most basic element is to have faith. To have faith in the words of the wise. In my case, it's Ramana, but it could be Jesus, or it could be anyone who is competent, who is a sage. And if you have this faith, you feel already a spark in you, and that will guide you. I know many, many helps. I was trained a TM teacher, I told you. But I cannot specify today. It's not a technology so much. It's love. Of course, it all must move towards this pure awareness. And depending on my state of mind, I will find different routes towards this awareness, but it's always in the end, to be in this, what I call the trunk of the mind, is blissful, and it's most attractive. And I said before, I don't sleep much at night. It so happened, I didn't plan. I never forced it. And in a way, I feel blessed. I often say in my heart to thank you that I can turn towards you, in spite of my personality, which is, as every person, nothing special. But it's so beautiful to know there is a God, and you can link to him. That is what the word yoga or religion means. And when you practice it, you will feel the blessing.
In your experience as a teacher of self-inquiry, is there a question from your student that you've heard over and over again?
Yes. in a way we can say generally that all questions are, what am I really? But of course this is not always known. So when we meet here in our house in satsang, we talk about how was this week. How was this week in the sense, how could I live? Awareness. How could I live for this truth, for silence? And what was the obstacle? So all questions that come up in that sense take different forms, but it's always, how can I bring these both together? This silence in me, this beingness, this I amness, and my mind. Sometimes it's going all different directions. So practical sadhana always must take care of both. We cannot escape our personality. It's impossible. That's what Dukkha tries. But we can surrender it. And the linking of our mind to our heart is all what it's about. So how can we do that? There are many paths in the beginning, like there are many branches on that tree. The closer we come to the trunk, they unite, and maybe only one or two enter the trunk. That means it becomes more and more simple, and it becomes more and more powerful the closer we can be. Is that a good answer?
Yes and no. The point is, I ask you, what is the question that is most asked to you? Is there like a specific question?
No, I wouldn't say I can put it in one question, because every person longs to, when he knows about this teaching, and my friends here, some of them are for decades with me, we are like a family, and they know the teachings, of course, and the basic teaching tools and concepts remain the same. But they become enlivened when we talk about, how did I deal with my wife? Yesterday I was angry, let's take an example, and how can I deal with this anger? That could be a question. It's not a theoretical question. All questions, I said it before, are a form of this question, what am I truly in my heart? And can I improve the link, the religio, of my thinking mind, of my active mind, of my social mind, to my heart? I cannot, give you one question for all. It's a personal process. Mm-hmm. So if I ask you, Henry, what is your question? I could deal directly, but it's not a generalized question for each and every person, except, how can I be happy?
So how would you say that Reinhard's mind is, Reinhard's inside has changed from 1970 to 2020? What has changed in your inner life?
Question. Mm-hmm. The mind, like the body, has a certain character and a certain structure. And in my experience, my personal experience, and also with many people, this doesn't change fundamentally. Even if someone has very deep experiences, he will have more energy for some time. But the basic patterns of personality will remain the same, as far as I can see. And that is not really the point. The point is that you get closer to truth, that your faith and your love for living, also for interaction, grows. And this is something truth will bring about. It's impossible to be a devotee of truth and to play false games. Doesn't matter where. I mean, truth needs honesty and needs a certain cleanliness and a lot of patience. I mean, no personality is perfect in itself. I don't claim to be anything special. I don't see myself at all to be special. On the contrary, I'm grateful for what this path was gifting to me, and I see a great responsibility. But we need to be humble. That is, humility and honesty and these kind of characteristics are a sign of progress in my opinion.
Are you feeling more happy now?
Oh yeah. But I'm a person like everyone else. I don't claim to be special. I can be angry like everyone else sometimes. Feel very, very little. And when I sit and turn towards this pure inner essence, all this is not working anymore. The whole personality is happy to surrender into this stream of devotion, if we want to call it like that.
Do you feel that you have the ability to catch your mind way more quickly than 20, 30 years ago?
Definitely so. Because this is a good question, because self-inquiry is not just a sitting concentration technique. Although concentration is it's like a microscope, and you can perceive much more clearly, but it's not sufficient. If you trust, see, take a little example. If you are in love, can you forget your beloved? It's impossible. And sadhana, or spiritual practice, is a form of love. And it will keep the leash short. That's very natural. Oh yeah, it's definitely so. It's a way of life. See, we are always, and our mind is what is creating the sense of time. Time is not absolutely true. This timeless presence which we are, that deserves our attention. And everyone can link to it. So every spiritual practice is a form of self-inquiry. Self-inquiry is not a dry formula. It's the peak of our mature mind. I loved him on the first sight. I could never, not trust him. It was impossible, although I'm a skeptical person. But Ramana held the leash short, and he still does. Mm-hmm. So it's not my quality. It's love. It's a gift you get from God. In my form, in my case, it was Ramana's form, which I still love dearly. I have many pictures here, and I look at them at night when I meditate. It's a gift.
That's interesting.
I never refer to my person as being special, I had no choice, Henry. I had no choice.
What do you mean?
I had no choice. I had to meditate. I had to walk this path. And I have many resistances in my person as well, But I have no... This is what I mean. This leash was held short. So I could not jump too far off.
So when you say that you are drawn, that is that like God is calling you to where the divine?
That's what I mean. I mean, God is the self. The self is the whole of our home, where we all are eternally at home. To be a human being is a special extrovert journey, I would say. You know, it's we are not a human being seeking a spiritual experience. We are a spiritual being who has for a few decades a human experience. Someone said, and that's very much to the point, isn't it? So we can trust, we can take it easy, but we should not make it easy. He used to make that difference. I love that. You know, if we take life light, be it joy, take it to your heart. But don't simplify too much from your, you know, in a slovenly way. Big difference. No, I don't see it, and no devotee would refer to himself as being special. Then he's a mechanic. I don't see myself to be special. This path is beautiful. This Dharma is beautiful. And when it touches you, it kindles your heart, very natural. So then is no coming and going possible. If people run around for guru shopping, they have not found the entrance to their heart. They have no trust in themselves. Then they cannot trust any teacher, really.
Reinhard, if someone is interested in your way of teaching, is it possible that they can get in touch with you through your website?
Definitely. I have a big Facebook page, Ramana, and a personal Facebook page, and I have this website still running. So if someone wants to, he can contact me.